Zullo, and this is my final individual project for CSE 40175, Ethical and Professional Issues, instructed by Professor Kevin Boyer. The main topic that I've been researching so far this semester has been Russia's Internet Research Agency in the United States. So to start out, I'd like to introduce some questions I want to answer. What is the IRA? What is their intent? And what is their impact on the United States? So to start, I'd like to give a brief interview to answer my first question of what is the Internet Research Agency. In colloquial terms, they're a shadowy organization based in St. Petersburg who spread false information and lies on the internet. They are a troll farm, and most notably, before the election, they spread pro-Kremlin propaganda by creating tons of fake accounts online to portray an army of supporters. And then they entered the United States. Before I answer that, I'd like to play this short clip for you.
Troll factory.
St. Petersburg's notorious troll factory is finally giving up its secrets thanks to a few brave former workers such as Vitaly Bespalov. 200 people.
200 people. Most 200 people.
The 26-year-old journalism grad became a troll by accident
Вот Putin и Trump.
in late 2014 when he answered an ad at the Internet Research Agency.
О том, что главная цель.
I figured out early that the main goal was to create a picture of the world and the internet that mirrored what was being shown on Russian television. Bespalov was put on the Ukraine desk. Russia's covert support for rebels in eastern Ukraine was underway, so anything that made Ukrainian government soldiers look bad was a priority, especially stories about dead children.
И мы видели новости, что вот.
We saw a news story that some militiamen were hiding in the school in Donbass and it was being shelled. Some children died. The facts were unclear, says Bespalov, but that didn't matter.
Мы писали просто, что украинские солдаты.
We simply took the news stories and wrote that Ukrainian soldiers shot and killed the children. That's it. No hesitation. Murat Mendyarov spent 3 months as a troll in early 2015. Under the fake name Ivan Putkin, he was told to use the comment section to rebut critical stories about the Kremlin.
What kinds of things were they asking you to write? Things that applauded the United States or things that applauded Russia?
Applauded Russia, of course, and unfortunately, and that's the horror, to hate America.
The pay was good, he says, 1,000 Canadian dollars a month, but he said it was soul-destroying, so he left after 3 months.
It was not criminal in the terms of the law. It was criminal in the terms of the ethic and moral.
Since he's spoken out, Mendyarov has been detained by police, while Bespalov has endured ridicule on Russian state TV.
Абсолютно.
He was portrayed as a hard-partying opposition supporter, not worth listening to. Bespalov says he's speaking out, hoping such fake news factories will be shut down.
Мне нравилось это вот аргументация.
I didn't like the atmosphere of lies and distortion. I see this in Russia, and I don't like it. In St. Petersburg, our CBC crew stopped by the troll factory. The security guard wasn't happy. He told us not to come back. Most workers cleared out a few months ago. Russian media has reported they've relocated to a new site. Both men were gone long before the alleged U.S. election tampering, but both also say they're sure such meddling is still going on. Chris Brown, CBC News, St. Petersburg.
So a few comments I have on this video is that it makes it quite clear that Russia prefers to operate in the shadows and in the darkness. They will do anything to prevent word from spreading about the Internet Research Agency. They disparage people who come out, and they discredit them as well. And then they go after them in the media to hide what they are doing. And as soon as all this information came out, they began to lock down that base, and they picked up and moved almost immediately. So I identified some main stakeholders in this issue to be Russia, the Internet Research Agency, the United States, and the presidential candidates in the 2016 and 2020 elections. So the main issue that I'd like to address is the 2016 United States presidential election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Russia had been accused time and time again for interfering in the election, And it turned out it was the Internet Research Agency behind it all along. And what they were doing basically was instructing their workers to criticize Hillary Clinton every opportunity they got, and to put out dozens of fake ads to bash her and tons of fake ads publicizing Mr. Trump, like the one seen on the left. And now I'd like to show a timeline about the 2016 election. And this middle bar shows Russian social media fraud, basically from the beginning of 2016 and then in the thick of it all the way up until he won the general election. And it doesn't stop here. There have been evidence that's been gathered that they resumed the meddling in the recent 2020 election too, and they use the exact same tactics. They pose as Americans and then target both sides with wedge issues. And these wedge issues include Black Lives versus Blue Lives Matter, gun control, immigration, and LGBTQ+, and the acceptance of them. In my opinion, it is incredibly hard to stop an organization that works from the shadows. The Mueller report indicted 13 individuals and 3 organizations alone for interference in the 2016 election, but they haven't given up, and I'd like to share this quote. They had a strategic goal to sow discord in the United States political system, including the 2016 United States presidential election. Defendants posted derogatory information about a number of candidates, and by early to mid-2016, defendants' operations included supporting the presidential campaign of then-candidate Donald J. Trump and disparaging Hillary Clinton. The defendants made various expenditures to carry out those activities, including buying political advertisements on social media in the names of U.S. persons and entities. Defendants also staged political rallies inside the United States, and while posing as U.S. grassroots entities and U.S. persons, and without revealing their Russian identities and organization affiliation. They solicited and compensated real United States persons to promote or disparage candidates. Some defendants, posing as U.S. persons and without revealing their Russian association, communicated with unwitting individuals associated with the Trump campaign and with other political activists to seek to coordinate political activities. And all this has done has sown discord and division among us. And one of the main tactics is to deploy those wedge issues. Political division in our country runs rampant every day, and it has never been so bad. And this is exactly what their goal is, to drive us apart. And they do not want out. They want to continue to meddle in our other countries' affairs, and this was evident in their continuation to try and sway voters in the 2020 election after the entire fiasco in 2016. So to conclude, Russia is going to continue to do this for the foreseeable future, and there isn't much that can be done to stop them, including the indictment of those individuals and organizations. It shows that they are willing to just keep going. And we need to just rise above it and continue to be vigilant on social media to try to weed out fact from fiction. We must make our own educated decisions and opinions and not allow ourselves to be so easily swayed and divided. We need to do our own research into credible and vetted sources. And we must come together and overcome the division, because if we don't, then Russia just gets what they want, and that is not good. And these are the sources I used. Thank you very much.